Good evening and welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen, June the 2nd business meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by New Vision Youth, followed by prayer from Commissioner John Gardner.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Montgomery, members of the BMA. It truly is a privilege to get to spend the evening with every one of you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as an invited guest, I thank you for the privilege to join with these leaders and citizens. We ask your blessing on this meeting of the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And we pray for wisdom in every discussion, integrity in every decision, and respect for one another as they work for the good of this city and its people. May all that is done and decided here be guided by the desire to seek the common good. We gather, we pray, and we go out into the world in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Be seated. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Commissioner Gardner, and thank you, New Vision Youth. Very good. Mr. Recorder, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Montgomery.
Here.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Here.
Alderman Baker.
Here.
Alderman Cooper.
Here.
Alderman George.
Here.
Alderman Mays.
Here.
Alderman Phillips.
Here.
Thank you. All 7 board members are present. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we have one recognition on the agenda tonight, and as Alderman Phillips is making his way to the podium, I'd ask that Mitch Walters please join Alderman Phillips at the podium, please.
Your timing is perfect. So I've got a few comments here, but I ran into Mitch at the prayer breakfast a few weeks ago, and we got to talking about his investment here in Kingsport, and after hearing what he had to say, I just really felt like that it was appropriate that we give him a little bit of recognition for what he's done. And so I want to I think most everyone here knows Mitch, if not on a personal level. You definitely know him from the commercials. I wanted to just give him a little bit of an intro, and then I'm going to let him say a few things about his investment in Kingsport. But Mitch and his family own the Friendship dealerships here in Northeast Tennessee, and I think in 3 states still. Yep. So quite a few dealerships, and the reason he's here tonight is for one of those investments, and his most recent investment, which is the new Hyundai dealership here in Kingsport. And I think if we go back in time, this board and previous boards have probably heard more about that piece of property than maybe any property in the city of Kingsport. And it was no small undertaking to redevelop that property. It took a lot of effort and a lot of ingenuity to do that. And what it has done is had such a positive impact on this community, and we really appreciate that. And I did a little research on Mitch before, and Mitch has this quote that he says is one of his favorites, that there are 3 kinds of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what just happened. And we absolutely appreciate Mitch making things happen here in Kingsport. And so I've got a proclamation for you, and then I'll let you say a few words if you'd like to. So the City of Kingsport and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen commends Mitch Walters for investing $12.5 million in the redevelopment of a key property on East Stone Drive into a new state-of-the-art Friendship Hyundai dealership. This new dealership improves the nearby neighborhoods, will generate millions of dollars in economic activity, and will ultimately create 50 new jobs for the City of Kingsport, in the City of Kingsport. The board is proud that you have chose to establish your 5th dealership location in the City of Kingsport and hopes this location has a long history and successful performance. Congratulations from the Board of Mayor and Aldermen on behalf of the citizens of Kingsport. You have represented your profession and your community in an outstanding manner. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and would you, anything you'd like to
I
say?
appreciate
The
it.
microphone's
It's
yours.
signed by my friend Paul. So that's,
Thank
well,
you.
we do business in North Carolina, in West Virginia, in Georgia, Virginia, and Tennessee, and in multiple cities in those states. And we've done construction projects in every one of them. And I'm not saying this because this is the first proclamation I've ever gotten in my life. So thank you. I'm very, very proud to get this. But it's been a smooth sailing. You guys have your act together. I'm proud of what you do. And you worked as a team. And together we took a bad area. I didn't realize how bad it was. And it looks pretty nice now. So thank you very much on that. And our first month of full sales was in May. And we outsold the Bristol store by 3 units. So that surprised me, quite frankly, from starting from scratch. So very happy to work with y'all. Thanks for the proclamation. God bless you guys. It was a
Bless you.
wonderful invitation. It was given right when I walked in. So you guys have your act together. And you know I'm a Bristolian, and but I brag about you guys.
Thank you very much.
Don't tell me, is anybody from Bristol here? You guys are better. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss, that's my neighborhood that you've improved, so thank you so much for that from a personal standpoint. Thank you.
Which room was yours?
Pardon? Okay. Thank you. This is the part of our meeting where anyone from the public wants to come and address us. This is your time. We ask that you can speak on any agenda item or any issue item at the time. When you come to the podium, please state your name, sign the register that's there at the podium. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and you're limited to 5 minutes. Also, when you come, it is your time to speak, and do not expect us to respond to what you say. We're glad to talk to you before the meeting, after the meeting, or anytime that you want to call us, you're welcome to do so. So does anyone want to speak to us tonight? Come forth.
Good evening. My name is Gina Burnett. I'm a Kingsport resident.
And please your address, please.
Sunset Avenue.
Okay.
Okay. I'm here tonight because of the data center proposals. And I'm asking you to vote no. To be completely honest about what's happening here, this council is fast-tracking a massive industrial project behind closed doors without seeking our input and without caring how it affects the people who actually live here. Now you want to hand our physical utilities over to massive data centers and are rushing these changes through for the sake of deals, and they're bad. Big tech companies always make big promises, but the reality is simple. Data centers are a massive drain on our town, and they'll give nothing back to us. Just one of the facilities can use 100 million gallons of water every year just to keep the computers cool, while regular families are being asked to conserve water. They threaten our power grid. Just recently, a whole city in Tahoe was asked to find other electricity because it was going to go to all the data centers. If we overload our grid here, which I've lost my electricity 5 or 6 times every year because of either too hot in the summer or too cold in the winter, and we're just going to put more onto it, I'll be stuck paying higher monthly utility bills. The noise, the generators are pulling, it's just horrible sound, horrible for health. And it doesn't bring jobs. It'll bring jobs to build them and basically a few people to watch the screens and push buttons. It won't do anything for local workers. they'll take our resources, hike our bills, and give back nothing. So I ask you, who is actually winning here? We can't choose corporate interests over the people who voted for you. And I'm asking you to vote no on data centers and to vote yes on body cams. They are the best idea I've heard all year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to speak to us tonight? I'm going to ask Ryan if he would not engage this young lady here when she gets to her seat, please. Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
All right, when we move forward with the approval of minutes from the work session on May 18th, 2026, and the business meeting on May 19th, 2026, we would ask that you approve these minutes as submitted, please.
You have before you tonight, May 18th and May 19th minutes of the meetings. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Minutes are approved, 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we now move into business matters requiring first reading and/or public hearings. First item is to conduct a public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning of tax map 460, Group J, parcel 17, 18, and 19, located along East Sevier Avenue from the R1B residential district to R3 low-density apartment district. Jessica McMurray will walk through the presentation for us.
Thank you. This is an owner-requested rezoning along East Sevier Avenue, and on this map, you can see the vicinity of where the site is located. On this next slide, you'll see zoning designations for the area. The request is to rezone from the R1B residential district to the R3 low-density apartment district to accommodate construction of a duplex on the vacant lots. The current R1B zone permits detached single-family dwellings. The proposed R3 zone permits a range of housing options, including single-family, two-family, and multifamily dwellings. On the next couple slides are standards of review. The proposed rezoning from R1B to R3 is appropriate and compatible with the surrounding properties. It aligns with the compact neighborhood place type and allows duplex development as a compatible incremental increase in residential density while maintaining the established character of the neighborhood. During their May meeting, the Planning Commission voted to send a positive recommendation to rezone from the R1B zone to the R3 zone based on its consistency with the compact neighborhood place type. And I'm happy to answer any questions from the board.
Okay, I'll open up this public hearing. Is anyone here to speak on the rezoning on East Sevier? Seeing no one moving forward, I'm going to close the public hearing. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code text and map to rezone property located along East Sevier Avenue from the R1B residential district to R3 low-density apartment district in the 11th Civil District of Sullivan County to fix penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman George. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Baker. Any discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor of the ordinance say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ordinance passes 7-0. The city manager.
Next item is to conduct a public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning of tax map 62P, Group C, Parcel 1, located along Fort Henry Drive from the R1B residential district to R3 low-density apartment district. Jessica.
Thank you. This is an owner-requested rezoning at 2600 Fort Henry Drive. On this map, you can see the vicinity of where the site is located. On this slide, you see zoning designations for the area. The request is to rezone from the R1B zone to the R3 zone to accommodate construction of a duplex. The current R1B zone permits single-family detached dwellings. The proposed R3 zone permits a range of housing options, including single, multifamily, and two-family dwellings. On the next slides are standards of review. The proposed rezoning from R1B to R3 is appropriate and compatible with surrounding properties. It would establish a suitable lower intensity transition between nearby commercial and residential uses and is consistent with the 2030 future land use map. During their May meeting, the Planning Commission voted to send a positive recommendation to rezone from the R1B zone to the R3 zone based on its role as an appropriate transition between commercial and residential uses and its consistency with the 2030 future land use map. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
I'm going to open up public hearing for the ordinance to amend the zoning map, 62P. Is anyone here to speak on that item? Seeing no one move, I'm going to close the public hearing. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code, text, and map to rezone property located along Fort Henry Drive from the R1B Residential District to R3 Low Density Apartment District in the 11th Civil District of Sullivan County to fix penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard a reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman George. Any discussion?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, Alderman Phillips is abstaining from the vote. Any other comments? Not. All in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Say no, and one abstention, so 601. City Manager.
Next item is conduct a public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning of tax map 62P, Group C, Parcel 2, located along Fort Henry Drive from the R1B Residential District to B3 Highway-Oriented Business District. Jessica.
Thank you. This is an owner-requested rezoning located at 2604 Fort Henry Drive. And on this map, you can see the vicinity of where the site is located. On this slide, you'll see zoning designations for the area. The request is to rezone from the R1B Residential District to the B3 Highway-Oriented Business District to accommodate a commercial business use in an existing commercial building. The current R1B zone permits single-family detached dwellings. The proposed B3 zone permits a wide range of commercial, service, office, institutional, recreational, and entertainment uses, and a full list is provided in your packet. On the next two slides are standards of review. The proposed rezoning from R1B to B3 is appropriate and compatible with the surrounding properties as it would align the existing commercial use with the appropriate zoning classification and is consistent with the 2030 future land use map. During their May meeting, the Planning Commission voted to send a positive recommendation to rezone from the R1B zone to the B3 zone based on its consistency with the 2030 future land use map. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to open up the public hearing on the ordinance rezoning 2604 Fort Henry Drive. Is anyone here to speak on that issue? Seeing no one moving, I'm going to close public hearing. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code, text, and map to rezone property located along Fort Henry Drive from the R1B Residential District to B3 Highway-Oriented Business District in the 11th Civil District of Sullivan County to fix penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard a reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Mays. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. And abstentions? Any abstentions?
Aye. Yes. Abstention. One of those, yes.
Okay, thank you. The ordinance passed 601. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in '26. As we have discussed in the past, and as you see here by the dates associated with the project, such as 21, 22, 20, much of what you are looking at here is the consolidation and closing out of various projects, moving those dollars to more current projects or reassigning those. This has been a reoccurring item. Appreciate the work done by the Budget Office and our Finance Department to identify these and make the necessary adjustments. This helps us in terms of overall project management and allows these dollars to go towards active projects and helps really offset capital expenditures in the current and future budget. With that, we'd ask that you approve the budget ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee, amending the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget.
Thank you. You've heard reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman George. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Baker. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Oppose? No. Oh, ordinance passes 7-0. City Manager.
All right, we now move into several items that are associated with the fiscal 27 budget. First item is a little different than what you've seen in the past. This is consideration of an ordinance adopting the water, sewer, and stormwater rates beginning July 1 of 2026 for the fiscal year budget. Our Deputy City Manager, Ryan McReynolds, is going to walk through the rates that are being proposed for the upcoming fiscal year. And part of his presentation will also include the budget for the utility group that you all will be voting on in a later item. Ryan.
All right, and appreciate the time with the board. This is an item for those watching that we have presented multiple times, a lot of discussion. It's one of the more important items that the board considers every year, this in the general fund budget. And it's never something we all love to do, but it's a necessity in keeping up with our infrastructure, and the cost of our services is to marry that up with the revenue needed to ensure that we are reinvesting in a very, very, very old system and maintaining clean drinking water. Every time someone turns on water, they get clean drinking water they can be safe of, and when they flush the toilet, they can be confident that everything is taken care of. So we've come a long way in society in being able to do that. And we start the presentation, let's see, there we go. With really what the rates go toward, and that is the capital projects. So a lot of times people ask, well, what are my water rates going toward? It's pretty much the majority of what comes in through water rates goes right back out to maintain this very intense capital system, 100-year-old system in certain areas. The bulk of our city was post-World War II built, so over 900 miles of water lines. If you consider trying to think about replacing even 1% of that, that means 9 miles of water lines to be replaced in a year. That's a lot. That's a big endeavor. So not only that, but the water treatment plant is a very capital-intensive endeavor, and all of that kind of rolls up into what we call the CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan. And just to highlight a few items on that, you can see some investments back into our water treatment plant, $3 million into some sweeps. These are just in the basins to ensure that as the water comes, everything that falls out is collected and the clean drinking water continues to get processed. A $3 million expenditure in the distribution system upgrades. This is what I mentioned a minute ago. We've got a very vast system. It reaches from Greene County, Washington County, Sullivan County, Hawkins County. And there is a need. It's pretty evident. If you drive down the road, you'll see various places. You can see where water leaks have been fixed. We are trending where we don't want to trend in the number of leaks we have had, and we're trying to get in front of that by replacing the older pipes, those pipes that are past their current service life. And so a $3 million investment is included in the budget as well. And just to kind of drive that home, we're almost done with, this is about a 10-year-old master plan at the water treatment plant, and Nikki has been walking through year by year by year, making investments. And the reason we do those master plans is you can be reactive in certain respects, wait till something fails and then fix it. You're usually paying more money, and there is a tremendous system impact to that. At the water plant, you really don't have that luxury. You need to be not reactive, but proactive and even preventative. And so the master plan allows us to do that. We see the areas over a 10, 15-year period we need to be investing in. As I mentioned, she has been walking down this path very successfully. Those that might have been on the board at the time when we did the raw water and the tunnel, that was one of the first projects we did, a huge undertaking that really closed the gap to ensure that we can always get water from the river to the plant. We're finishing up the project called the high service pumps that gets water from the plant to the system. Then moving into chemical feed, very important project for us to ensure the safety not only of our employees, but also the community at large, and to ensure that we're always delivering clean drinking water. Miscellaneous projects at the water treatment plant, all guided from this master plan. And you can see at the time is a $60 million plan, so pretty expensive plan to walk through. And then we move on to the sanitary sewer, the wastewater. And really at that point, you're talking about costs that usually ratchet up even higher than the drinking water. And just to highlight a few projects, the blower, again, this is built off of those master plans. This is what the wastewater treatment plant's not like the water treatment plant's chemical and physical, wastewater treatment plant's biological. What you do in the wastewater treatment plant is you take how God created things to get cleaned with bugs and microbes, and you shove it into a concrete box and you control it. And it's really fascinating, but it requires a lot of investment. So $2.5 million into the blower project that introduces very fine bubbles that keeps our plant healthy. Neighbors like it because when you have a healthy plant, you're good neighbors to those, especially downtown. So that's included in this year's budget. And I really want to draw your attention because a lot of kudos to the board to get us to this point. The bottom side of that CIP shows a $3 million investment called Equity Finance Capital. The board has made great steps in the rate plan that we've been walking down since fiscal year 2022, and we're able to do those projects we need to be doing every year now in the wastewater side with cash. So specifically in the collection system, just like the water system, it ages. The difference there, it doesn't necessarily break, but it breaks and allows water in, and then we're treating more water, and we can have violations with overflows, various other things. So $3 million of cash going into the collection to revitalize it. Sometimes we dig and replace, sometimes we shove new pipes in the ground. The other $3 million into the pump stations. This is we're blessed to be in such a beautiful area, but it makes delivering water and collecting wastewater very difficult. If you go to West Tennessee, it's a pretty easy enterprise. You pump it once out of your water plant, and it can go about anywhere and serve everyone. With the wastewater, with the valleys and the different things we have a lot of pump stations. So the life of those pump stations we're reinvesting in. So $3 million worth of cash to reinvest in. And I mentioned the wastewater usually ratchets up in price. They're a master plan that we're just now starting to step into. And again, this is a long target. This isn't a 3-5 year target. This is a guide for us as we do projects in the wastewater plan. Its total price tag over a 15-year period is about $156 million. Now, when we deliver them in the water plant, we usually deliver those under what was estimated, which is what we desire doing. And so that just shows you the capital nature of both water and wastewater. And when you are when we're asking the ratepayers to continue to increase the rates, and they ask, well, where's that money going? It is going to manage those systems. The size, the age of our systems is what's requiring that type of investment. I mentioned that the board has done a phenomenal job since 2022 with our new rate plan, and that was a pivotal point at 2022, fiscal year 2022. The board adopted changing what was the old rate plan to a new rate plan. It accomplished two things. It simplified how we bill. Presently, if you have a service, you pay for that at your house. It's called a base rate, and then you pay for consumption. Previously, it wasn't that way. It's very convoluted, and it was hard to explain to the customer. We are that way now, and the other thing it did is it created this financial sufficiency within our utilities. As I mentioned a minute ago, we've made great strides within wastewater, and we're kind of catching up within water. We have some way to go within water to get to a financial place of stability. I throw this in here because really for the public's knowledge, a question would be going, well, how are you operating? Are you operating well with the funds we're given? Is there places that would have opportunity for shifting of funds? And so we will index that. Nikki provided an index. AWWA is American Water Works Association. And the metrics they use is for mile of water line, 0.15 to 0.25 full-time employees. We're at 0.046. So we're a very lean operation within our utility. And another index, and this is an interesting one, if you put the two together, is from AWWA is the 1,000 customers, so 0.5 to 1.2. We're at 0.61, which we're in the range. So that kind of tells you we're way below the range in miles of pipe, and we're in the range with customers. So that gives you a sense of the nature of our system. We're spread out. Once we leave the core of Kingsport, we travel to Greene County, we travel to Washington County. So that just shows that, yeah, while we are urban, we do serve a rural area as well. The number of customers per mile grows quite a bit outside the city core. Wastewater, WEF, is the Water Environment Federation. That's a group we belong to, an American Public Works Association. Their metrics are 0.15 to 0.22 employees per mile of sewer line, and we're at 0.067. So again, we are running very lean. We've got great employees doing great things. And just to assure the citizens and the ratepayers that we are looking out for the dollars that they're bringing us, we're investing that back into the system. So all that to say, this is a chart that you all are familiar with, especially if you've been on the board since that fiscal year 22 budget. We look forward this fall for those that have not been, and then the new board members, we will bring Raf Tellis, who created the whole model for us, back in at a work session, and hopefully have a very good time kind of understanding where were we financially, what did we put in place, where are we now, and where are we going. And they'll be able to answer the questions very well. We have been very fortunate over the past year and a half to Travis has dove into this very well and given us a lot of good guidance too, and opened up a lot of understanding of the financial side of the utilities as well. So really the two big items to look at as far as impact to customers, the 5/8 inch meter, that's the base rate. That's the rate to have the service at your house. And that is the bulk of all of our residential customers are 5/8 inch meters. So we're proposing going from 10.72 to 11.83. And in the water side and the consumption volumetric, that means for every 1,000 gallons you use, go from $2.87 to $3.13 per thousand. And the wastewater, the base rate 10.03 to 10.56, and the consumption is 11.02 to 11.6. And that's for the inside customers. I mentioned earlier that, we're a unique system, that we also serve a very rural area as well, not just the urban core, but we serve rural areas, so we reflect those rates in what are called non-city customers, outside city. The vast majority of these customers are water only. Very few of them are on sewer. So really, we're talking about those customers outside the city. Again, the density of customers is such that the need to have a little higher rate or a higher rate in water is justified. So the outside city customers, base rate goes from $21.45 to $22.56, with the consumption from $5.75 to $5.96, and then similar with the wastewater, $5.08 to $5.88, $16.52 to $17.39. And what we do, the board will be considering next year's rates, but we do try and show you years out just to give you an idea of what is planned on the financial. I would encourage you to look through that. those years out to build questions, to, close gaps when Raftellus comes in of what are we trying to accomplish with this as well. To give you just a more simplified look, what does this look like? And what I'm showing here is three different type of customers, and they're the typical three different type of customers. One is a low volume user. So this is usually either the couple or a single person living by themselves, and they're at 1,000 gallons. We have quite a few people that consume right around 1,000 gallons a month. So the current rate with the water and sewer combined would go from $34.64 to $37.12. It represents a 7.1% increase. The average user, and this is based upon, we do keep the statistics of what is our average residential user, is 3,000. Unfortunately, I'm on the high volume side. I'm still at home with kids, and so I'm on the high volume, but the average user, their average bill would go from $62.42 a month to $66.57. It's a 6.7% increase. The reason the difference is where that base rate has changed and the consumption. It's not an easy one-for-one all the way through because everyone has to pay a base rate. The theory behind the base rate is it's capturing the capital cost to give you service, and then you pay for consumption above that. The high volume user, again, the larger family, currently $90.20 for a 5,000 gallon consumption a month. It's going to propose $96.03 for a 6.5% increase. Just to put those in perspective on that average side, that's about $1.48 a day for sewer and about 70 cents a day for water. And if you think about being able to turn on the tap, wash your clothes, take your showers, do all the activities you do, 70 cents a day, and it's right there. I guess you could say we were the first Uber delivery. We delivered the water right to you at 70 cents. And then we take away the stuff you don't want at $1.48 a day is what would be proposed. And I try to keep it brief. As I mentioned, for those that have not seen this, we have done multiple presentations to the board through this process, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Just stand there for a second.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee adopting water, sewer, and stormwater rates beginning July 1st, 2026.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman George. Sir, second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion or questions of Ryan or City Manager?
I guess just observation. It looks like rounding numbers, Ryan. We're going to spend about $16 million on water and sewer this upcoming fiscal year in CIP. And then subsequent years, it looks to be, again, rounding numbers, around $30 million for the next 4 years. Are those numbers, is that a flat number? Is that adjusted number?
No, so what you'll see is every once in a while, there'll be a very large project. The water
Yeah.
treatment plant chemical fee, $10 million.
Yeah, but are these, I know it's a CIP, but are they adjusted for the actual cost of by the time we get here in 3 or 4 years? Is it, for an example, in the water in fiscal year 29 is 9.7. Is that 9.7 adjusted for what we think the CPI will be, or is that just based on current dollars?
That's a very good question. On the large projects, we are projecting forward. On the other ones that we're trying to do with maintenance, what we're trying to do is balance the impact of the rates to bring the money in on those miles of pipe. So the question would, you do the same amount of pipe with 6.8 today that you would do then. It would appear to go up then. So we're not at the point yet where we're trending those expenditures on the equity financed at a CPI index. We're trying to get to a point where we can have those, if we're if our target, which our target on both sides is about 1% of replacement a year on the distribution and collection, we're trying to get to that target, then we would start indexing the CPI.
So I guess it would be a logical assumption that, and actually, instead of 30 million, it could be more.
Yes, sir. And we look every year as we present it to what is a reasonable amount that we can actually get out the door as well. But our target goal is that 1% of replacement a year.
And I think it's good. I was glad that you put the slide in because, folks ask questions about the water and the sewer rate. It's very important to a lot of people, of course. And I think it's good that you put in about the FTEs or the employees or the cost, the overhead of operating the system. I think folks you don't see water lines or sewer lines
Yes.
underground and the investment that you make. You just see the operational cost of employees and everything like that. So I think it's good to point out that our water and our sewer departments have just slightly less or about average of what a water system or a sewer system should have for a city our size. In other words, we're not overly staffed. We don't have a lot of overhead. The cost is actually bonds and capital improvement that's going underground. And I think it's also important to note, as this board discussed last night, is 33% of our cost is in debt service and our water and sewer. And that's a significant amount. And that is really because we held our rates down over a long period of time and did not put capital improvement in the ground for our water and sewer. And so now we're really having to expedite our capital improvement plan, which is a higher dollar cost now than it was a few years ago. And I'm not pointing fingers. Decisions are made for lots of reasons. It's difficult to raise water rates.
Yes, sir.
It's a very difficult decision. And so, but the consequences of that is where we are.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure, I know members of this board are very happy that we're not having to bond money or borrow money just for small capital projects, whereas in the past we did, and we're able to cash flow those, which is a significant savings for the ratepayers. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I was going to point out also, and I forgot, with the implementation of the new bill system, we've provided a lot of various options for the public to pay. And whether it used to be bank draft or come in and pay or drop off, now you can go to Walmart, you can go to different places. And in that transition, we have dropped a lot of the type of fees that have been aggravating, such as the processing fee. I forget the name of it, when people pay with credit card.
Convenience.
The convenience fee, thank you. And the other side of that, if you all come in contact with people that have a real difficulty with paying, reach out, because we do have great groups in town, churches, nonprofits, and others that do step up. And so that is another opportunity that the city of Kingsport, not necessarily us, but the city as its residents have done. So that's a great thing that our residents have stepped up to do through their various organizations.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion?
To Alderman May's point, I'll say thanks to Chris for allowing me to sit with Travis a couple of days to talk about the business case for the water rates. And I asked the question, I said, if our utility department was a personal consumer, do we tend to live on credit cards rather than paying cash? And I think it's like a household that has short-term expenses they put on a credit card and leave the bill for later. And I'm like you, I'm not pointing back, but I think we're today the product of work that maybe should have been done years ago. I also understand that the state comptroller has expressed concerns about our sewer rates. And if we don't get that where it needs to be, we could be a utility system that the state takes over or mandates certain things that we do. The other thing that Travis shared with me, we've been working as a city to improve the accounting practices to more distinguish what needs to be capitalized versus expensed. And I think those are important steps to show us what true costs are for the utility department. That being said, I can't speak for any other my fellow aldermen, but the concern I've got and when I ran is for the vulnerable population. And I've worked for organizations that's helped with water and mortgage and rent. And I would like to ask city manager if he would just research options. What is out there that is available that we could tap into, work with nonprofits to help maybe step up. I'm really glad that we've upped the convenience fee. I think that doesn't offset the entire impact, but it's a step toward reducing the cost for the ratepayers. So I don't vote enthusiastically for this, but in talking with Travis and in talking with deputy manager and the city manager, I don't want us to turn into a Flint, Michigan at some point in time. And we've got to stay on top of that with capital to make that happen. I'll be curious when Raftelis comes in, when will we see these rates begin to level out? Because when I was weighing this up, I thought of my 84-year-old dad that gets Social Security each month and his cost of living increases. This outpaces that. And so I'm thinking of that population that, $10 a month, 20 over a few years may not seem like a lot to some, but that's for a individual on fixed income or a working family, that's tough, to come up with that additional money. So I appreciate staff's work towards this. And, I appreciate your efficiency measures. I'd love to see more of those. But I think it's important for us to communicate to citizens we're operating efficiently. And I appreciate the work Nikki and her team does. And I think we take for granted when we go and flip that water faucet on, flush the commode, that things work, and that could be, I remember in my lifetime when Old Faithful happened downtown. And, discussions on can we fix it, what do we need to do, and I don't want to have those discussions. I'd rather say what are we doing to make sure our system is intact. So, Mayor, thanks for the opportunity to provide comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ordinance passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
All right, next item is consideration of an ordinance to adopt the fiscal 26-27 Community Development Block Grant Fund budget. This is part of the annual budget process. You have recently taken action on the appropriation of these funds. This action tonight, through the first reading of this ordinance, will set in place the funding and the budget for not only operations but various capital that is conducted by this office. That, Mayor, we'd ask that you approve this item on first reading.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to appropriate U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant Funds for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2027 to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? All in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of an ordinance to adopt the fiscal 26-27 Utility Enterprise Fund budget. As you just saw in the presentation delivered by Ryan, this is the utility budget that is being proposed for the upcoming fiscal year. Various rates that were presented in Ryan's presentation support the capital as well as the ongoing operations of this very precious asset that we are charged with maintaining. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for the following proprietary funds: water fund, sewer fund, stormwater fund, fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman George. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Baker. Any discussion? All in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ordinance passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of an ordinance to adopt the fiscal 26-27 general fund budget. We'll walk through that presentation at this time, Mayor.
Okay.
So a slide that you've seen numerous times. This shows you where we are in the current process, a process that really began in February, but as you know, it's a year-long process and how we manage the budget. We're now in the month of June, ready to vote on this item for first reading. The second reading coming in 2 weeks from today, and then that budget will be submitted to the state of Tennessee, and we will begin implementation of the budget for the general fund as we move into the first day of July. The budget that has been presented to you all through several work sessions last month leading up to tonight's first reading is based upon the strategic plan that you all put in place a year ago. As you look through these 7 focus areas, you will see that intertwined within the budget recommendations and the conversations that we have had over the last several months as we have prepared to bring this budget to you all tonight. Going back several months ago, we began having conversations with the various city departments about what their needs would be for the upcoming fiscal year. We sat down and talked to them about where they felt like they needed to be with their operations in order to deliver efficient service, at the same time recognizing a need to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. Many things continue to be challenges within all operations, and really something that we've experienced post-COVID, but the staff did an outstanding job of bringing a variety of things to us for consideration. You see there what was requested versus ultimately what is proposed, a total general fund budget of just over $114 million. When you begin to break down what was requested, you see a large amount of that in personnel, whether that be through addition of new employees, maybe adjusting the rate of pay for temp employees. Operating capital is definitely an area that we've had a lot of conversation about, as well as the increase in both fleet and utilities. All of those had tremendous pressures and were items requested by the management team as we went through the budget process. Similarly, with where we were with capital items, nearly $30 million have been identified that needs to be addressed throughout the city, whether this is through roads, bridges, and sidewalks, where you saw the bulk of that, or in other facilities. A need to look at a variety of capital items is there. As we've stated through the budget process, we'll dive into the capital budget in much more detail as we move into this fall and begin to work to build a 5 to 10-year capital improvement plan for the general fund. When we look at our revenue, and we went over this last month and taking these slides as they were generated by Travis through the Budget and Finance Office, it shows you the various revenues that go into the general fund and what we are projecting for the upcoming year. Obviously, property tax and our sales tax are the 2 big items that we look at in terms of the revenue. All in all, we're anticipating about a 1% increase in revenue going into next year. An adjustment you would see if you look back at the property tax last year. One of the bumps we were able to realize, and really a major contributor going into this year, is personal property tax. As you know, that's been an item that has resulted in less property tax revenue coming in until the reassessments were done. So we're pleased to finally see that come back up, and that's fully realized in the property tax revenue projected going into next year. Again, just a same slide, but broken out a little bit differently. We continue to be dominated by property tax revenue, followed by local option sales tax. Together, those make up nearly 75% of the total revenue that comes into the city of Kingsport, especially when you factor in the payment in lieu of taxes. When you look at those expenditures that are then broken out within the balanced budget that we are discussing here tonight, you see where those items go. You see where we are looking at savings through the course of the year to help us move forward with a balanced budget. As you would expect, a huge emphasis on the major items that make up any city: the police, fire, public works, schools. Those are the primary areas of focus for any city, and definitely what is reflected in our budget. This slide shows the last several years of your inflows and outflows, your revenues versus your expenses. You see where we're projected in '26 to have revenues coming in slightly higher than expenditures. This is something we talked a lot about leading up to the fiscal '26 budget. We talked about this last month, and the fact that these dollars coming in will allow us to put some money aside for cash, which is the green line you see slowly ticking up, which is what we want it to do. But it also allows for some one-time expenditures for capital, and those will be prioritized through my office, the budget office, as we move in to the next year. Looking forward, kind of where we are with fiscal '27, projecting revenues and expenditures to be right on line or even with each other. Obviously, as we go through the year, we do budget adjustments. We evaluate this in much more detail. The goal is obviously to see the inflows be in a position to outpace those outflows, and we'll continue to work on that just as we have each and every year for the last several years. So what we are presenting to you tonight is a balanced budget with no tax increase. The general fund budget, as I stated earlier, is just over $114 million. Our property tax at this time remains the same at 1.6763. We are anticipating a new tax rate for Hawkins-Kingsport. Keep in mind, Hawkins County is in a reassessment year this year. We are still waiting on that certified rate for Hawkins-Kingsport. I hope to have that to you in the coming weeks, but we will keep you posted on how that moves forward. Your department budgets have been adjusted for inflation, and we've also tried to make adjustments in terms of wages for temp employees, utilities, fleet expenses, other commodities. Again, items that we have had conversations about as being pressure points on this year's budget. We are also recommending, as part of the fiscal '27 budget, a 3% cost of living adjustment. This is to help us keep pace with the public sector market. As you know, we've had a lot of conversations, and I greatly appreciate the support that this board has given to ensure that our employees who get up every single day and deliver a variety of services to our citizens and businesses, that we are in a position to be on pace with what the public sector market is. We are not, at this time, recommending a step increase to go along with the cost of living, but we would like to hold that door open to evaluate that should revenues present themselves differently than what is projected throughout the course of the year. And we are working with the HR department to adjust positions that would fall below what the recommended COLA increase would be. And so those are of only a few positions, but they are very critical that we maintain pace with those as well. It's hard to have a conversation on this budget, and quite honestly, the past 2 or 3 budgets without having a discussion on inflation, specifically wage inflation. Both of those items continue to dominate both the public and private sectors, not only in this region, but across the country. We are all seeing rising fuel prices. That's impacting the economy. It impacts our operations, and it also has the potential to impact capital projects that we have in the queue. This year, the general fund is being asked to make a transfer of approximately $400,000 over to the regional sales tax fund to provide necessary support for that. In addition to that, we are also a change, and we discussed this during the March meeting and then again in May, trying to move away from the budgeting of slippage, but we have budgeted about $900,000 in slippage for the upcoming fiscal year. We will be holding a variety of positions over the course of the fiscal year in order to meet that. We did that this past year, and quite honestly, we've done that for several years. It is our goal moving into '28 that you will not see that as part of the budget presentation. But it is an opportunity to provide savings, and we believe we will be able to meet that very easily. Cost control measures are continuous, as they were in last year's budget. They continue in this fiscal year. Huge emphasis on the reduction of overtime, the use of temporary labor, supplementing operations or capital with grant funds, and restructuring of departments to allow us to shift dollars and operate more efficiently. Earlier today, Travis and Rebecca and I sat down with the department to look at opportunities for efficiencies moving into the next year, and you will see that as we move later into the upcoming fiscal year of the benefits that will provide us. Operating capital, I mentioned, was an area that was of high request, high demand by the managers. We will try to fund that this year through the dollars that we're anticipating presenting themselves as we close out this fiscal year, as well as the projects that we ask you all and have been asking you all to close, consolidate, move, or redirect. Those will also help with one-time capital needs. Definitely a conversation in the fall will be how we evaluate operating capital as well as some of the bonded capital moving forward. New positions in the budget. 2 new positions were added in sanitation. This was a conversation we had several years ago when we made the decision to annex the Fieldcrest area out off Airport Parkway. This opens up new residential development. There's a need to provide sanitation services out there. We will be moving forward with adding those. One will come on board in July, another one later in the year. Additionally, with the reopening of the new otter habitat at Bays Mountain, it is necessary to have another full-time position there. That position will come on board in January of 2027. Operating efficiencies. This was a major priority in the budget with departments, asking them to make adjustments within the parameters of their fiscal 26 budget. We were able to do that for 3 departments. The first and the biggest one is restructuring of the fire department to decrease overtime. This was this has been probably a 1.5 to almost 2-year effort. Really appreciate the work that's been done by Chief DeBerry to really bring this home and allow us to present it to you all this year as part of the budget. It allows us to make necessary adjustments by adding 6 additional positions within the fire department. We're able to do that in a budget-neutral position, and on top of that, see approximately $150,000 a year in savings. This allows us to reduce the amount of overtime, which really going all the way back to the mid-90s had been increasing year over year due to the fact that only minimal staffing had been brought on board with the new stations that had opened. And so we're able to do this. We built that off of an initial MTAS study and then a tremendous amount of work by the HR department, finance, and budget to validate these numbers and then put ourselves in a position to be budget neutral moving forward. Similarly, with communications, we've ended our external contracts to create 1 new FTE position. We know from community surveys, comments that you all receive, communication as to what we do, how we are doing things, what is available to our citizens is very, very critical, and we continue to see that play out each and every day. Many of the outside consultants that we had on board were not in a position due to what we were paying to provide 40-plus hours a week. With 1 new FTE position, we'll be able to do that, thus providing more information and much more efficient response time to our customers. IT, also a situation where internal adjustments have been made, consolidation of operations to create an FTE position there. I told you 2 or 3 years ago, this would be a department in IT that we would be needing to make a lot of investments in moving forward. I appreciate you all continue to support that. You see that playing out in everything that we are doing. We're very, very technology focused, and that requires not only capital expenditures, but also from an operations standpoint. A new technology, this will not only impact this upcoming budget, but future budgets as well, and that's body-worn cameras will be funded for the first time for the Kingsport Police Department. This has an annual recurring expense of $350,000 a year. You saw this slide in May when we talked about this. This ties directly to our strategic plan, and you see the benefits that are there. I would note, the second to the last bullet, one of the things that we are asked more and more by the new hires coming into the police department is, what brand of body cameras do you have? This is a far change from what we've heard in the past. The employees coming in to work for Kingsport Police Department have an expectation, and we have a responsibility to deliver it for all of these reasons and many more. Paving continues to be a major priority for the general fund budget. I'm very pleased to report that over $4.7 million in paving will take place throughout the city. This is the general fund portion of what we do with paving. As we have stated, we often have these opportunities where the pass-through dollars that come into the Metropolitan Planning Organization will come online in this coming year. So Island Road, Clinchville Street, Eastman Road, those are all slated to be paved later this year. You see others that are in the queue, such as Meadowview Parkway and Orbank Road. They are very much on the horizon, and we'll see those very soon. In addition to that, TDOT will be doing a lot of work on Interstate 26 as well as Interstate 81. Go to pavekingsport.com anytime to see an update on where we're working and also what we have planned in the future. This continues to be a data-driven approach and one that is working extremely well for the city of Kingsport. While we will have a lot more conversations on capital items this fall, you recently sold bonds, and so you got a lot of capital items in the queue. As you know, in the upcoming fiscal year, we will complete the Justice Center and the library, two projects that we have been working on for quite some time. A lot of work taking place on roadways, such as intersections like Jesse and Memorial, Jack White and Eastman, the first phase of Watauga. Upcoming work to rebuild the Clinchfield Bridge, as well as the Fort Town Road Bridge. From a quality of life standpoint, we continue to make investments, as I mentioned earlier, with otter habitat and the Nature Center improvements. We continue to look at other quality of life items through grants such as Cement Hill. And we'll be making the first step towards the construction of a new elementary school in the Lynn Garden community as we move forward in 27 with the demolition of the old community center there and the site. That include road work and other things to prepare for that construction. Again, an item we'll have a lot of conversation on as we move into the fall. We currently manage over 60 capital projects. You can see those capital projects at any time by going to our website, clicking on the little traffic cone there in the main page, a map that will walk you through where all of those are in terms of their timeline and the impact of work that is there. Mayor, with that, I'm happy to present to you the fiscal 27 general fund budget. I would be remiss if I did not thank a host of individuals who have made this budget possible. First and foremost, management team, leadership team. Those individuals have spent a tremendous amount of time evaluating these the recommendations, ultimately what was proposed through the city manager's office. They are then the ones tasked with putting this budget into place, and they're also the ones tasked with managing efficiencies and other stewardship items that we request throughout the course of the year. Budget and Finance, our new budget director, Rebecca Wilson, led by our CFO, Travis Bishop, have played an instrumental role in taking a very different look at the budget. One that we believe will be very beneficial for not only how we operate, but also how we are able to manage the various things associated with the budget. I appreciate y'all's support on this. I know each and every year I ask a lot of your time as we move through the month of May. The next year, I won't necessarily be able to say that because we're going to ask a lot of your time in April. We really need to move this process back into the month of April to allow the necessary time for notices to get out and allow us to be in a position to have this published in the local newspaper. And so next year, we'll be conducting a lot of our budget work sessions towards the end of April as we move forward with first reading in June. That, Mayor, be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year ending July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027.
You've heard the reading of the ordinance for the annual budget. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman George. Any discussion? Questions?
Well, I'd like to say, we appreciate the city manager and his team's work and effort. We've seen, what the wants list was and how it was reduced. And we've done this with no tax increase, and being good stewards of our citizens' money, I think, is, the highest on our list, while still bringing good service as we do. And so it's tough decisions every year on these budgets, and I know that, I feel like that we do a very responsible job of doing that, city manager. And so while still giving our employees a 3% COLA raise, and I think that's important to, and we've seen on the other side of that, if we don't maintain that, we lose a lot of our employees as well. So I just congratulate you and the team for giving us a budget that's, it's manageable and with no tax increase.
Thank you. Any other questions, comment? Okay, all in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we'll now move into business matters requiring final adoption. First item is consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal 26 school general purpose fund budget and the general project fund budget. Again, this comes to you on second reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund budget and the general projects fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman Baker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? Mr. Recorder, will you take the roll call vote?
Alderman Baker.
Aye.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Aye.
Alderman George.
Aye.
Alderman Mays.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Montgomery.
Aye. The ordinance passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal 26 school federal projects fund budget. We'd ask that you approve this item on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2026 school federal grant projects fund budget and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Mays. Any discussion? Mr. Recorder, please take the roll call vote.
Alderman Baker.
Aye.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Aye.
Alderman George.
Aye.
Alderman Mays.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Montgomery.
Aye. The ordinance passes 7-0. The City Manager.
Next item is consideration of ordinance to amend the fiscal 26 school special projects fund budget. This item also comes on second and final reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2026 school special projects fund budget and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard a reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for approval by Alderman Phillips and second by Alderman Baker. Any discussion? Mr. Recorder, please take the roll call vote.
Alderman Baker.
Aye.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Aye.
Alderman George.
Aye.
Alderman Mays.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Montgomery.
Aye. The ordinance passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal 26. This comes to you on second and final reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance of the City of Kingsport, Tennessee, amending the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget.
Thank you. You've heard a reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan, second by Alderman George. Any discussion? Mr. Recorder, please take the roll call vote.
Alderman Baker.
Aye.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Aye.
Alderman George.
Aye.
Alderman Mays.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Montgomery.
Aye. Ordinance passes 7-0. The City Manager.
Next item is now moving into other business. First item there is consideration of a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign all documents necessary to enter into a materials agreement with Integrity Building Group LLC related to the Bancroft Heights development. This is coming to you based upon the amount of $52,148.30. This will help with the building of 63 lots. We'd ask that you move forward with the approval of this resolution to enter into this materials agreement for this development.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a materials agreement with Integrity Building Group LLC related to the Bancroft Heights development and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the resolution. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Baker. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution authorizing application to the Federal Railroad Administration for Crossing Safety Railroad Crossing Elimination Program grant funds for construction Brickyard Bicycle Pedestrian Bridge. This is a grant that we have been watching for several years in order to position ourselves for that final lift, if you will, for funding to construct the pedestrian bridge that has been proposed, really going back, I guess, to 2019, 2020, that will connect the Brickyard area to our downtown. We've been very successful in getting grants as well as special appropriations to cover the overwhelming majority of the costs for this project. This grant is one that we've waited to be in a position of being shovel-ready, and so we're hopeful that we will be in a position to have this funded and be in a better position going into next calendar year to hopefully see this thing go to construction. For that, Mayor, I'd ask that you approve the resolution allowing us to make application for this grant.
Thank you. You've heard a reading of, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to apply for a Federal Railroad Administration for Crossing Safety Railroad Crossing Elimination Program grant funds for the construction of the Brickyard Bicycle Pedestrian Bridge.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the resolution. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Alderman George. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of resolution authorizing the mayor's signature on the certification of local government approval for the 26 Emergency Solutions Grant application. This is an item you see regularly. This allows for the agencies listed within the executive summary to be able to apply for these fundings through the ESG grants. We'd ask that you approve this authorizing the mayor's signature certification.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the resolution.
I haven't read it just yet.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a certification of local government approval for the Salvation Army of Kingsport, Grace House, Hope Haven, and Family Promise of Greater Kingsport, and all the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the resolution. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion for approval by Vice Mayor Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes 7-0. Ms. City Manager.
All right, Mayor, we have nothing on consent. We'll move into communications. I believe I have said enough tonight, so I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Okay, I'm going to start with Alderman Baker down there.
I want to tell the city manager I appreciated the presentation last night on the downtown parking and appreciated you and the staff's willingness to identify a path forward to help with access. I think it's a pretty good plan, and so I appreciate that. I want to congratulate Michael Price for being named the new executive director at KHRA, and I want to congratulate Terry Cunningham on a good career. I worked for Terry for a period of my career. Terry just about taught me to stay into housing. I really enjoyed working for him. But last thing I'll say, I'm going to wish my father-in-law, Larry Browder, a happy 80th birthday.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Phillips.
Not much, just, please, if you've got kids, check the Parks and Rec website. There are tons of camps, no seasons going on this summer, but tons of camps going on. There's a tennis camp going on right now. They've already done a softball camp, baseball camp. Flag football camp was a big success, I've heard. I don't know what school we're gonna pick yet, but we're definitely going to the NFL Flag Football Professional League.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a pretty big day last Saturday, pretty pumped. But yeah, the Parks and Rec, our Parks and Rec do an incredible job with the camps and events and everything they do. So I would just really encourage people to check the website, check the schedule, and they're all very affordable, anywhere from 1 day to a week. That's it.
Thank you. Alderman Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. Last night, we had a presentation, or received a presentation from the YMCA, and the presenter gave us some statistics about the need for childcare in our region, especially our city. And I just was really just so pleased with the community's effort to sponsor and pay for a $6 million project to help relieve some tension in the daycare arena. It won't solve the daycare needs that we have in our city, but it will go a long way, and I'm sure it'll be professionally operated. It'll be in a wonderful location, and just really tip my hat to the YMCA and all of the fundraising efforts to raise, again, $6 million, which is very significant, I think, for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Cooper.
I sound like a broken record every week talking about the things that are going on in our downtown. Last Friday night, I was down in town for the first of the Twilight Alive series with a Garth Brooks cover band, and it was the largest opening night that we've had. It was wall to wall, friends and neighbors. It was a very good time. So there's another one this Friday night. Shop and Hop is Thursday night, and then on Sunday night they have the I don't know what it's called, the Sunday gospel singing. So you can go sit on Sunday night at 7:00 and listen to gospel singing and religious singing. So there's always something going on in the downtown area. So just look at the DKA website to see what's happening. And like James said, I said the camps that are offered in the summer for our children are unbelievable. I said, I have a grandson that's gone to every one of them so far. As we talk about the health of our children, getting them outside and away from screens and out and playing with others, and it's very, very good for them. So I think Abby my daughter has signed my grandson up for something every week this summer that he's here. So that's all.
Thank you, Alderman George.
I just want to thank Chris and all of the staff for presenting a balanced budget, and let my 13th and last approval for a budget be balanced with no increase. I'm very happy, and now, after I leave, you're going to switch it to April, which would have been much better with my world, to take all of our time. But I really appreciate all the input, all the data, and in 13 years, I have learned so much about enterprise funds and numbers and sewer, a lot more about sewer and water in 13 years than I really ever probably needed to know in my lifetime. But I really do appreciate the job you all did and the presentations. I said, I feel like 13 years. Next year, if you need me to come help give one, I think I'm almost there. I think Brian's probably taught me enough on some of the things that I can do that. But thank you for that, and I appreciate all the time you all put in. You thank us for our time, but that's just a smidgen of how much effort you put in. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, just a couple items here. Kingsport City Schools started their feeding program for the summer. Breakfast can be picked up between 8:30 and 9:30 at Sevier. Lunch is provided at Dobbins Bennett between 11:30 and 1. And then this year, you can pick up boxes of food. And that's on each Thursday. That's at John Adams. And that's between 11:30 and 1, and that runs through July the 10th. And I think this past Thursday, I was told that they had 375 boxes of food that was passed out. Not many stipulations to this, only be 18 student and under 18 years of age. So I hope people will take advantage of that. It's a good program.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, City Manager, for a good balanced budget, as well as I really appreciate the transparency that we are able to show what goes on with our utility and our tax rates. So with that said, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
You leave it. All right. Y'all have a good trip.